Hola querida comunidad de YouTube. Bienvenidos una vez más a nuestro canal, donde las historias más extraordinarias de supervivencia humana y arquitectura ancestral cobran vida ante vuestros ojos. Soy vuestro narrador de confianza, y hoy tengo preparada para vosotros una historia que os dejará reflexionando sobre la sabiduría milenaria de la construcción tradicional y cómo el diseño inteligente puede significar la diferencia entre la vida y la muerte en condiciones extremas. ¿Habéis pensado alguna vez por qué nuestros antepasados construían de ciertas maneras específicas? ¿Os habéis preguntado si existe verdadera ciencia detrás de las formas arquitectónicas que han sobrevivido durante siglos en las regiones más inhóspitas del mundo? La historia que estáis a punto de escuchar responde exactamente a estas preguntas. Es la narrativa extraordinaria de un cazador experimentado que redescubrió principios de construcción que habían sido olvidados por generaciones, creando un refugio que desafió las leyes aparentes de la termodinámica y que salvó vidas cuando la naturaleza mostró su cara más implacable. Esta es una historia real que ocurrió en las montañas de los Pirineos, en la frontera entre España y Francia, donde las temperaturas pueden descender a niveles que convierten la supervivencia en una cuestión de horas. Nuestro protagonista aplicó conocimientos ancestrales de manera innovadora, creando una estructura que mantuvo temperaturas interiores imposibles cuando otras construcciones fallaron completamente. Antes de sumergirnos en esta increíble historia de ingenio y supervivencia, no olvidéis darle like a este vídeo si queréis más contenido como este. Suscribíos al canal y activad la campanita de notificaciones para no perderos ninguna de nuestras fascinantes historias. Y por favor, decidme en los comentarios desde qué país y ciudad nos estáis viendo. Sin más demora, acompañadme en este viaje donde descubriremos cómo una cabaña redonda mantuvo 55 grados más de calor que el exterior durante la tormenta más brutal registrada en décadas. Párrafo 1. Ignacio Mendoza. Larrea había dedicado toda su vida adulta a la caza mayor en los Pirineos aragoneses, donde durante 43 años había desarrollado una comprensión profunda e íntima de los patrones climáticos, las rutas migratorias de animales y los secretos de supervivencia que habían permitido a generaciones de montañeses prosperar en uno de los entornos más desafiantes de Europa occidental. A sus 67 años, Ignacio era reconocido en toda la región como el guía de montaña más experimentado entre Huesca y la frontera francesa, un hombre cuyo conocimiento enciclopédico del terreno pirenaico y cuya capacidad para predecir cambios climáticos con días de anticipación habían salvado innumerables vidas durante expediciones que se habían encontrado con condiciones meteorológicas adversas que podían transformarse de aventuras emocionantes en situaciones de supervivencia mortal en cuestión de horas. Su refugio principal, ubicado a 100 metros de altitud en un valle remoto, cerca del Parque Nacional de Ordesa y Monte Perdido, había servido durante décadas como punto de partida para expediciones de caza que se extendían durante semanas en territorios donde la civilización más cercana podía estar a 3 días de marcha a través de terreno montañoso que se volvía intransitable durante tormentas que podían durar semanas enteras durante los inviernos más severos que caracterizaban la vida en altitudes elevadas de la cordillera pirenaica. Durante el otoño de 2019, cuando Ignacio se preparaba para lo que intuía sería uno de los inviernos más brutales en décadas, basándose en señales naturales que había aprendido a interpretar durante décadas, de observación meticulosa del comportamiento animal, los patrones de viento y las características de la vegetación que precedían invariablemente a periodos de clima extremo, comenzó a desarrollar una preocupación creciente sobre la adecuación de su refugio existente para proporcionar protección adecuada durante condiciones que sus instintos experimentados le advertían podrían exceder significativamente cualquier cosa que hubiera experimentado anteriormente en su larga carrera como montañista profesional. Su cabaña tradicional de madera y piedra, construida según métodos convencionales que había utilizado la mayoría de refugios de montaña durante generaciones, había demostrado adecuada para condiciones normales de invierno pirenaico, pero Ignacio había comenzado a notar señales ambientales que sugerían que el invierno venidero podría presentar desafíos que requerirían capacidades de supervivencia que excederían los límites de construcción convencional que había sido suficiente para conditions menos extremas. La inspiración para su proyecto revolucionario surgió durante una expedición arqueológica informal que realizó en septiembre, cuando descubrió los restos de estructuras circulares de piedra que databan aparentemente de periodos prehistóricos, cuando los primeros habitantes humanos de los Pirineos habían desarrollado técnicas de construcción específicamente adaptadas para supervivencia durante condiciones climáticas que podían ser incluso más severas que las que caracterizaban el clima moderno de la región. Estas ruinas circulares, que habían sido construidas utilizando técnicas de mampostería que maximizaban la estabilidad estructural y la eficiencia térmica mediante la eliminación de esquinas y la creación de flujos de aire interno que minimizaban la pérdida de calor, despertaron en Ignacio una fascinación profunda por principios de arquitectura de supervivencia que habían sido desarrollados durante milenios de trial and error por personas cuyas vidas dependían directamente de la efectividad de sus refugios durante conditions extremas que no permitían errores en design o construcción que podrían resultar en muerte por exposición durante tormentas que podían aislar estructuras durante semanas. Ignacio había comenzado a especular que la forma circular de estas estructuras antiguas representaba optimization sophisticated de principios aerodinámicos y térmicos, que maximizaban retention de calor mientras minimizaban resistance al viento, que podía crear pressure differentials destructivos que comprometieran structural integrity durante storms con wind speeds que podían exceder 150 kilómetros por hora durante las most severe weather events que characterize mountain winters en elevations above 0 metros donde su refugio estaba located. Sus calculations preliminarios, basados en décadas de practical experience con building performance durante varios weather conditions, suggested que una cabaña circular construida utilizando principios de architecture tradicional, but implemented con modern materials y precision engineering, podría provide thermal efficiency y structural stability que excedería significantly anything achievable mediante conventional rectangular construction methods que había been standard para mountain refuges durante recent generations, pero que perhaps había been adopted more para convenience de construction que para optimization de performance durante extreme survival situations. Párrafo 2. La fase de planning y design para su Revolutionary Circular Cabin se extendió durante octubre y noviembre de 2019, mientras Ignacio trabajaba systematically para combine ancient architectural wisdom con modern understanding de thermal dynamics, structural engineering y material science que would enable him to create una structure que could withstand conditions que he anticipated might exceed anything documented in recent meteorological records para la región donde he había chosen a establish su survival base. Ignacio había desarrollado detailed plans que called para una cabaña circular con diámetro de exactly 6 metros, dimensiones que he había calculated would provide optimal balance between interior space, adequate para survival functions, y exterior surface area, minimized para maximum thermal efficiency durante conditions cuando every degree de temperature retention podría mean la difference entre comfortable survival y potentially fatal exposure a cold, que could penetrate insufficient insulation o structural barriers que fail to maintain integrity bajo extreme stress. El foundation design que Ignacio developed required excavation de una circular foundation que would extend below frost line para ensure stability durante freeze-thaw cycles que could undermine structures built sobre inadequate foundations, mientras el wall construction would utilize double wall technique con interior stone wall providing thermal mass para heat retention y exterior stone wall, designed primarily para wind resistance y weather protection, que would create air gap entre las two walls que would function como natural insulation barrier, más effective que most commercial insulation materials available para mountain construction applications. Las stones para construction would be carefully selected desde local quarries para ensure optimal thermal properties y structural compatibility, con each stone individually fitted, usando traditional dry stone techniques que would provide flexibility durante thermal expansion and contraction while maintaining weatherproof barriers que would prevent infiltration to wind, rain, o snow que could compromise thermal efficiency the interior environment durante extended periods de extreme weather. El roof design presented particular engineering challenges debido a la need para creating structural spanning que could support significant snow loads, mientras maintaining circular geometry que would optimize aerodynamic performance during windstorms que frequently accompanied severe winter weather in elevations, donde Ignacio planned to operate his survival shelter. His solution involved innovative use to radial timber beams extending desde central support post to circular wall perimeter, creating roof structure que would distribute loads evenly while providing mount points para exterior stone, covering que would provide superior insulation and weather resistance, compared to conventional timber or metal roofing materials, que were commonly used para mountain structures, pero que often failed durante extreme weather events debido a inadequate thermal performance o insufficient structural capacity per sustained high wind loads combined con heavy snow accumulation. La interior layout the circular cabin was designed to maximize efficiency de heat distribution desde single central heat source que would provide warming para entire interior space mediante natural convection patterns que circular geometry would optimize, eliminating cold corners que were characteristic de rectangular structures y ensuring que heat generated por wood stove or fireplace would circulate naturally throughout entire interior volume without requiring mechanical circulation systems que might fail during extended power outages or maintenance problems que could occur durante isolated winter conditions. Storage areas para firewood, food, and survival equipment were integrated into wall design utilizing alcoves that would not compromise structural integrity while providing organized storage que would support extended survival periods durante conditions que might prevent resupply or evacuation para weeks or months if extreme weather created impassable conditions throughout surrounding mountain terrain. Párrafo 3. La construcción de Circular Stone Cabin comenzó durante early December de 2019, cuando weather conditions were still moderate enough to permit intensive construction work. Pero cuando Ignacio's experienced weather sense was already detecting atmospheric pressure changes y wind pattern shifts que confirmed his earlier predictions que this winter would present survival challenges que would test limits to any shelter system designed para normal mountain weather conditions. El foundation excavation proved more challenging que anticipated, debido a bedrock encountered at shallow depth que required specialized tools y techniques para creating level circular foundation que would provide stable base para multi-ton stone structure que would need to withstand not only vertical loads desde stone walls y heavy roof, sino también lateral forces desde winds que could exceed design parameters to conventional mountain structures durante extreme weather events que were becoming increasingly common due to climate change effects on mountain weather patterns throughout European mountain regions. Last stone selection y preparation process required careful evaluation de each individual stone para ensure optimal thermal properties, structural compatibility, y weather resistance que would enable completed structure to perform effectively durante decades de use bajo conditions que would include not only normal seasonal temperature variations, sino también extreme cold snaps, sustained high winds, heavy snow loads, y rapid temperature changes que could create thermal stress sufficient to crack stones or compromise mortar joints if materials were not selected and installed. Con attention to thermal expansion characteristics and structural requirements, unique to circular architecture, Ignacio había established relationships con local quarries que could provide stones con specific characteristics needed para his innovative construction. Pero el process de selecting, transporting, y preparing hundreds de individual stones required months de sustained effort que had to be coordinated con weather windows que would permit safe transportation de heavy materials. A remote construction site accessible only por narrow mountain roads que became impassable during snow or ice conditions. El stone laying process itself required development to specialized techniques que combined traditional dry stone masonry skills con precision fitting requirements, unique a circular construction, donde each stone had to be individually shaped y positioned to maintain both structural integrity to curved walls y in smooth interior surfaces que would optimize heat circulation dentro de completed structure. Each course de stones required careful planning to maintain proper radius, mientras accommodating irregularities and individual stone shapes y sizes que made each ring de stonework unique. Engineering challenge, requiring creative problem-solving y adaptation de traditional masonry techniques a unusual geometric requirements. Ignacio worked primarily alone durante most the construction process, developing rhythms y techniques que maximized progress, while ensuring quality control que would be essential para structure, que might need, provide life-saving shelter durante emergency conditions, cuando construction defects o structural failures could have fatal consequences para occupants depending on shelter durante extreme weather events. La roof timber installation presented complex engineering challenges due to a requirement para supporting heavy stone roof, covering maintaining structural spanning. Necessary a bridge 6-meter diameter, without central posts, que would interfere con interior space utilization y heat circulation patterns que were critical a thermal efficiency the completed structure. Ignacio designed y fabricated custom radial beam system utilizando traditional timber joining techniques adapted para circular geometry, creating roof framework que would distribute loads effectively while providing attachment points para stone covering, que would provide superior insulation by weather protection compared to conventional roofing materials, pero que required structural support capable de handling loads significantly heavier que normal roof systems designed para lighter covering materials como tiles o metal sheeting. Commonly used para mountain construction, donde weight considerations often dictated roofing choices. Párrafo 4. La compleción de circular stone cabin coincidió perfectly con un set de what meteorologists would later classify como one of the most severe winter weather patterns recorded in Pyrenean region durante past century, when atmospheric conditions beginning in mid-January 2020 created sustained extreme cold temperatures, combined con heavy snowfall, sustained high winds, contested survival capabilities de every structure throughout mountain regions, desde the Atlantic coast, a Mediterranean coast, where elevation y exposure created conditions que exceeded design parameters para most conventional buildings y emergency shelters. La first major test de Ignacio's innovative shelter came durante night de January 13, cuando temperature dropped a 28 degrees Celsius mientras sustained winds reached speeds de 95 kilometers per hour, creating wind chill conditions que made exterior environment lethal para any exposed human activity y que threatened structural integrity de conventional buildings throughout region as emergency services. Documented widespread power failures, heating system failures, structural damage. The buildings que had been considered adequately designed para normal mountain winter conditions. Durante this initial extreme weather event, thermal performance de circular cabin exceeded even optimistic expectations que Ignacio had developed durante months de careful design y construction planning. While exterior temperature reached 28 degrees with wind chills approaching 40 degrees, interior temperature de cabin stabilized at plunging 27 degrees Celsius, utilizando only moderate wood fire and central stove, representing temperature differential to 55 degrees, was maintained throughout sustained extreme conditions, que lasted para 3 consecutive days, mientras exterior conditions remained life-threatening para anyone without adequate shelter. Less thermal efficiency was achieved through combination de circular geometry que eliminated cold corners, he promoted natural convection circulation, double-wall stone construction que provided massive thermal mass combined con insulating air gap, y roof design que minimized heat loss through superior insulation properties, de stone covering, mientras maintaining structural integrity durante wind loads que caused damage to conventional buildings throughout surrounding region. Even more impressive exceptional thermal performance was structural stability, que circular design demonstrated durante sustained high winds, que created conditions responsible para widespread building damage throughout region durante same weather event. While conventional rectangular buildings throughout area experienced roof damage, wall failures, and structural stress que required emergency evacuations and extensive repairs, circular cabin remained completely stable, sin any indication de structural stress or damage despite exposure to identical wind conditions que created destructive forces sufficient to damage buildings designed según modern engineering standards. La aerodynamic advantages de circular geometry eliminated wind pressure differentials que could create structural stress, while uniform load distribution inherent in circular architecture ensured que force vectors were distributed evenly throughout structure rather que being concentrated in corners or edges, donde conventional buildings typically experienced failure points durante extreme wind events. La first emergency test de cabin's life-saving capabilities came durante February, cuando Ignacio encountered two stranded hikers who had been caught by sudden weather change mentre attempting winter traverse de high mountain pass, que had become impassable due a combination de heavy snowfall and dangerous wind conditions que made evacuation impossible until weather improved sufficiently a permit. Safe. Travel through mountain terrain que remained hazardous para several days after initial storm event. These hikers, who had been equipped para normal winter hiking, pero not para survival durante extreme conditions, would likely have suffered serious injury or death from exposure if they had not reached circular cabin, and they were able to shelter durante 4 days to sustained extreme weather. And conditions donde exterior environment remained life-threatening. Mentor interior environment remained comfortable enough para normal daily activities, sin any indication de heating stress or resource depletion que might have compromised long-term survival capabilities. Párrafo 5. Durante extended cold period que lasted a través February y early March 2020, circular cabin continued to demonstrate unprecedented thermal efficiency que maintained comfortable interior conditions a través successive waves de extreme weather que tested heating systems throughout mountain regions and caused widespread power outages, heating failures, and emergency evacuations in communities que had previously considered themselves well prepared para normal winter conditions characteristic de Pyrenean environment. Detailed temperature monitoring que Ignacio conducted throughout this period documented sustained thermal performance, que consistently maintained interior temperatures above 20 degrees Celsius, even cuando exterior temperatures dropped below 25 degrees. While neighboring conventional structures required continuous intensive heating to maintain minimally habitable conditions, I frequently failed to provide adequate protection durante periods, cuando heating systems were overwhelmed por extreme cold o when power outages interrupted electric heating systems relied on per many mountain installations. Las most remarkable demonstration de system effectiveness occurred durante extreme weather event in mid-February, cuando meteorological station in nearby valley recorded temperature minimum de 31 degrees Celsius, combined con sustained winds exceeding 110 kilometers per hour, creating conditions que were classified por emergency services como potentially fatal para anyone without adequate shelter, y que resulted in temporary evacuation to several mountain communities. Unconventional heating systems failed to maintain safe interior temperatures. Durante this same period, interior temperature de circular cabin remained steady at 24 degrees Celsius, utilizando normal wood consumption rates, demonstrating que thermal efficiency de circular design provided safety margins que exceeded capabilities de conventional architecture por factors que approached engineering significance. Temperature differential between interior and exterior environments reached maximum recorded level de 55 degrees durante coldest portion de this weather event. Performance que was achieved without any indication de thermal stress or resource depletion que might compromise sustainability de comfortable conditions durante extended extreme weather periods. Recognition de exceptional performance characteristics de circular cabin began to attract attention desde local emergency services, cuando mountain rescue personnel became aware que Ignacio's shelter had provided successful emergency refuge para multiple groups to travelers who had been stranded por sudden weather changes durante what had proven a be one of the most dangerous winter seasons and recent memory para mountain travel throughout Pyrenean region. Emergency response coordinators began to utilize cabin como designated emergency shelter para rescue operations, recognizing que its reliability during extreme conditions made it valuable resource para emergency response planning. Cuando conventional shelters might prove inadequate para protecting rescued individuals durante extended rescue operations, could be delayed por continued extreme weather conditions, could made helicopter evacuations impossible, ground evacuations potentially dangerous, until weather conditions improved sufficiently to permit safe travel through hazardous mountain terrain. Local mountain communities began to take notice de exceptional weather resistance demonstrated por circular design, cuando conventional buildings throughout region experienced various degrees de weather-related damage, mientras circular cabin showed no signs de structural stress or performance degradation, despite exposure a identical extreme conditions que had tested limits de all structures. Throughout affected area, community interest focused particularly on thermal efficiency, que appeared to provide heating cost savings, que would be significant para rural mountain communities. On the heating expenses represented major portion de household budgets durante winter months, que were becoming increasingly expensive due to energy cost increases combined con extended periods, the extreme cold que were requiring higher heating consumption rates para maintaining comfortable interior environments, and conventional rectangular buildings que lacked aerodynamic efficiency, thermal optimization characteristics demonstrated por circular architecture. Párrafo 6. Spring de 2020 provided opportunity para Ignacio conduct comprehensive evaluation de cabin performance durante first complete winter de operation under conditions que had exceeded most extreme weather events recorded in region durante previous decades, allowing detailed analysis de thermal efficiency, structural integrity, and overall survival capabilities que would inform potential applications the circular architecture principles para other mountain survival and residential applications. Similar performance characteristics could provide significant benefits para safety, comfort, and economic efficiency during extended winter conditions, characteristic to high-altitude mountain environments. Performance data collected durante winter showed que cabin had maintained average interior temperature de 22 degrees Celsius, while average exterior temperature durante same period had been 8 degrees, representing sustained temperature differential to 30 degrees achieved preco-consumption, the approximately 40% less firewood que would have been required para heating conventional rectangular structure, the comparable interior space, efficiency gain, que reflected thermal optimization. Achieved through circular geometry, combined con thermal mass properties, de-stone construction, and superior insulation characteristics de double wall design. Structural analysis conducted durante spring maintenance revealed que circular cabin had experienced no measurable structural stress or damage, despite exposure. Wind loads que had caused damage. Conventional buildings throughout region durante multiple extreme weather events durante winter. Foundation remained perfectly stable since settlement of movement. Stone walls showed no cracking or mortar joint failures. A roof structure demonstrated complete integrity. Sin deflection. A stress concentration que might indicate approaching structural limits durante future extreme weather exposure. These results confirmed que circular geometry provided inherent structural advantages que complemented thermal efficiency benefits, creating shelter system que could provide reliable life safety protection during emergency conditions, whilst offering comfortable long-term habitation during normal winter conditions, que required efficient heating systems para economic operation durante extended cold periods characteristic to mountain winter seasons. Word the exceptional performance de circular cabin had begun to spread throughout mountain communities, donde residents were increasingly concerned about rising heating costs, vulnerability, power outages que could compromise heating systems durante emergency conditions. The conventional heating systems might fail precisely when they were most needed para maintaining safe interior environments. Several local families requested consultations about adapting circular design principles para residential applications. Recognizing who demonstrated efficiency gains could provide significant economic benefits, such as normal winter operation combined con enhanced safety margins, such as extreme weather events were becoming increasingly frequent due to climate change effects on mountain weather patterns were creating more extreme temperature variations, extended periods de severe cold, challenged heating. Capacity de conventional residential heating systems. Professional recognition de Ignacio's achievements came. Cada Universidad de Zaragoza Engineering Department requested opportunity to study circular cabin como example de applied thermal engineering, utilizing traditional architectural principles combined con modern materials, construction precision. Recognizing performance results achieved durante extreme winter conditions represented significant achievement in applied survival engineering could inform development de new approaches. A shelter design para extreme environment applications. Professor Maria Elena Santos, a specialist in structural engineering para extreme climates, conducted detailed analysis de thermal y structural performance, confirmed que Ignacio had achieved thermal efficiency approaching theoretical maximum para passive solar design while demonstrating structural performance exceeded conventional engineering design standards para similar environmental loading conditions, results suggested potential applications para emergency shelter design, military installations, residential architecture in extreme climate regions throughout world. Párrafo 7. Durante autumn de 2020, preparations began para second winter de operation. Interest in circular cabin design had expanded dramatically. Multiple mountain communities throughout Pyrenean region began experiencing increasing pressure. Desde rising energy costs combined con recognition. Traditional heating systems had proven inadequate durante extreme weather events the previous winter. We had created emergency conditions requiring evacuations and emergency heating. Assistance para communities on conventional buildings had failed to provide adequate thermal protection during sustained extreme cold periods. Local government officials began investigating possibilities de promoting circular construction techniques kao community resilience strategy. We could reduce emergency service demands whilst providing economic benefits para residents who faced heating costs que often represented major portions. The household budgets patches extended winter seasons que appeared to be becoming more extreme unpredictable due to changing climate patterns affecting mountain regions. Professional engineering evaluation de circular cabin performance had culminated in formal recognition desde Associación de Architectural Engineers de Aragon, que de Ignacio's innovative application de traditional circular geometry had been documented kao outstanding example de practical engineering achievement, utilizing locally available materials, traditional construction skills, create shelter. Performance que exceeded capabilities de much more expensive conventional construction approaches typically utilized para extreme environment applications. Engineering documentation confirmed that thermal efficiency achieved through circular design represented advancement in applied thermal engineering that could be adapted para a wide range de applications, GDA similar environmental challenges required maximum heating efficiency, combined con structural stability, behem extreme weather conditions, que were characteristic to mountain, Arctic, or other extreme climate environments. Educational applications de Ignacio's work began durante autumn. Several technical schools universities requested opportunity to use circular cabin teaching laboratory para students studying thermal engineering, traditional architecture, survival engineering applications. Kiji hands-on experience can proven high-performance shelter systems could provide practical education opportunities that would complement theoretical classroom instruction about thermal dynamics, structural engineering, emergency shelter design. University research programs began utilizing cabin test facility para developing y evaluating new materials y construction techniques that could enhance performance de circular architecture while maintaining cost-effectiveness y buildability using local materials y traditional construction skills that would be essential para community-based implementation dissimilar shelter systems in areas. Gdzie commercial construction services might not be available during emergency conditions. Community implementation to circular design principles began behem autumn how several families throughout region initiated construction to circular residential structures based on principles demonstrated by Ignacio's cabin, pero adapted para permanent residential use. Voy larger interior spaces, enhanced comfort features, integration con modern utility systems que would support year-round family occupancy while maintaining thermal efficiency. With structural advantages que had been proven to jacom extreme weather testing the original survival cabin. These residential applications provided opportunities to test scalability to circular design principles whilst exploring adaptations que could make circular architecture practical para broader residential applications. GDJ traditional rectangular construction had been standard, pero GG circular geometry could provide meaningful improvements in heating efficiency, structural stability, resistance to extreme weather conditions que were affecting increasing numbers the mountain communities. Párrafo 8, winter de 2020-21, provided conclusive validation the circular cabin design. Cada second year the operation encountered weather conditions que, while severe, were within more typical ranges para extreme mountain winter conditions, allowing evaluation the system performance behem conditions que would represent more common operational requirements para practical shelter applications, gdzie extreme testing conditions the previous winter might not occur frequently enough, justify design optimization specifically para such rare events. Performance monitoring behem this more typical winter showed que thermal efficiency advantages to circular design provided substantial benefits. Even TJCM normal winter conditions, voice sustained interior temperatures averaging 5 to 8 degrees higher que conventional structures whilst consuming approximately 35% less fuel para heating, efficiency gains que confirmed practical value to circular geometry para routine winter heating applications beyond just extreme survival situations. Structural performance behem second winter confirmed long-term durability de construction techniques. On the initial investment in quality materials precision construction continued a provide superior performance compared a conventional mountain construction que often required maintenance or repairs after exposure a normal winter weather stress. Stone walls showed no deterioration or settlement. Timber roof structure remained dimensionally stable. High foundation performance confirmed que thermal structural design had achieved integration. Key would provide decades de reliable performance as the maintenance requirements often necessary para conventional mountain construction. Get thermal expansion cycles, moisture intrusion, wind stress typically created ongoing maintenance needs, que added a total cost the ownership mientras reducing reliability, TJCM conditions, que structural failure could create emergency situations. Documentation de performance. TJCM 2 winters. The operation had attracted international attention. Kao research centers, specializing in extreme climate architecture, began studying circular cabin kao model para shelter systems que could be adapted para Arctic, high altitude, the other extreme environment applications gdzie thermal efficiency, structural reliability, were critical para human survival behem extended exposure a hostile environmental conditions. University partnerships had been established to conduct formal research with thermal dynamics to circular geometry applied to shelter design. Voy research results confirming que Ignacio's intuitive application to traditional architectural principles had achieved thermal performance que approached theoretical maximum efficiency para passive shelter design using locally available materials construction techniques could be replicated in wide variety to geographical and cultural contexts. Commercial interest and circular design principles had begun developing how several specialized construction companies began offering circular cabin construction services para mountain recreational applications, emergency shelter installations, Why specialized residential projects, such required maximum heating efficiency, combined con extreme weather resistance. Professional recognition de Ignacio's innovation had resulted in consulting opportunities to advise on adaptation to circular principles para commercial applications, educational facilities, government emergency shelter programs. The proven performance characteristics the circular design could provide enhanced capability para protecting vulnerable populations to emergency conditions, que might overwhelm conventional shelter systems, designed para normal environmental conditions rather, que extreme weather events increasing in frequency, high severity, throughout many geographical regions, affected by changing climate patterns. Parafo 9. By spring to 2022, 3 years after initial construction the circular cabin, accumulated performance data had documented thermal efficiency savings totaling several thousand euros. Compared to heating costs, Q would have been required para maintaining equivalent comfort levels in conventional rectangular shelter to similar size, whilst providing safety margins behind extreme weather events. Show had proven capabilities para life-saving emergency shelter, que exceeded performance any conventional mountain shelter systems available in region. Structural integrity remained perfect bez any signs de deterioration or stress concentration who might indicate approaching maintenance requirements, confirming show quality materials combined. Con precision construction had achieved shelter system, show could provide decades de reliable performance and extreme mountain environment, whilst maintaining thermal efficiency. Show made normal winter heating economically sustainable para extended occupancy applications. Recognition de Ignacio's achievement had culminated an invitation to present his work at International Conference on Extreme Environment Shelter Design. His practical application to traditional architectural principles had generated significant interest since researchers studying shelter systems para Arctic research stations, military installations, emergency disaster relief applications, environments yaki required maximum thermal efficiency, combined con structural reliability during extreme weather conditions, could create life-threatening situations if shelter systems failed to provide adequate environmental protection. Conference presentation had documented scientifically validated thermal performance CUA circular geometry applied G shelter design, confirming show ancient architectural wisdom combined con modern materials construction precision could achieve thermal efficiency, show rivaled sophisticated commercial heating systems whilst providing structural reliability, show exceeded conventional construction designed para normal environmental conditions. International collaboration opportunities had emerged to conference participation research institutions throughout Europe, North America, Arctic regions had expressed interest in developing collaborative research programs would extend Ignacio's work to include testing the circular design principles adapted para different climate conditions, construction materials, cultural contexts, similar thermal efficiency, structural reliability could provide benefits para communities facing extreme weather challenges were increasing throughout many regions due to climate change effects on traditional weather patterns who had been stable para centuries, pero were now requiring adaptation strategies to maintain safe and comfortable human habitation tijecom. Winter seasons were becoming more extreme and unpredictable. Personal satisfaction para Ignacio came not desde international recognition, pero desde knowledge que his circular cabin continued to provide reliable shelter para mountain travelers. Yara required emergency protection theki. Extreme weather conditions should remain dangerous para unprepared individuals traveling in high mountain environments. Yahain weather could change rapidly to manageable conditions. Life-threatening situations that required immediate access to adequate shelter. Local mountain rescue services had incorporated circular cabin into their emergency response planning, knowing its exceptional thermal performance and structural reliability made it valuable resource para rescue operations during extreme weather events. Conventional shelters might prove inadequate para protecting rescued individuals during extended periods before safe evacuation could be accomplished through dangerous mountain terrain, yet could remain impassable para days or weeks that sustained extreme weather. Párrafo 10. En diciembre de 2024, exactamente 5 años después de que Ignacio completara la construcción de su revolucionaria cabaña circular de piedra, el gobierno de Aragón estableció oficialmente el Centro Nacional de Arquitectura de Supervivencia en Condiciones Extremas Ignacio Mendoza, una institución dedicada al estudio y promoción de técnicas de construcción tradicionales que habían demostrado capacidades excepcionales para la protección humana durante eventos climáticos que excedían los parámetros de diseño de la arquitectura convencional. El centro incluía réplicas de múltiples variaciones de la cabaña circular, laboratorios para investigación térmica y estructural, y programas educativos que enseñaban a arquitectos, ingenieros y constructores los principios científicos que hacían que la geometría circular proporcionara ventajas tan significativas para la supervivencia en condiciones extremas. Durante la ceremonia de inauguración que atrajo a representantes de organizaciones de emergencia, instituciones académicas y agencias gubernamentales de toda Europa que reconocían las implicaciones de seguridad pública de las innovaciones de Ignacio, se documentó formalmente que la cabaña circular había proporcionado refugio de emergencia exitoso para más de 40 personas durante eventos meteorológicos extremos a lo largo de 5 años de operación, salvando vidas que se habrían perdido si los viajeros atrapados hubieran dependido de refugios convencionales que habían fallado durante las mismas condiciones climáticas. Las mediciones científicas confirmaron que la cabaña había mantenido consistentemente diferencias de temperatura de 40 a 55 grados entre interior y exterior durante eventos de clima extremo, mientras que el consumo de combustible para calefacción había promediado 45% menos que estructuras rectangulares comparables, proporcionando evidencia cuantificada de que los principios arquitectónicos tradicionales, aplicados con precisión moderna, podían lograr eficiencia térmica que rivalizaba con sistemas comerciales sofisticados. La influencia internacional del trabajo de Ignacio había resultado en la implementación de más de 200 estructuras circulares adaptadas en regiones árticas de Noruega, Finlandia, Canadá y Alaska, donde comunidades remotas habían adoptado principios de diseño circular para mejorar la seguridad y eficiencia energética de sus refugios durante condiciones de invierno que regularmente creaban situaciones de emergencia para poblaciones que dependían de sistemas de calefacción convencionales que frecuentemente fallaban durante los periodos cuando la protección térmica era más crítica para la supervivencia. Organizaciones internacionales de ayuda humanitaria habían comenzado a implementar diseños de refugio circular para campos de refugiados en regiones de clima frío, reconociendo que la eficiencia térmica superior y la resistencia estructural de la arquitectura circular proporcionaban protección mejorada para poblaciones vulnerables durante emergencias climáticas. Reflexionando sobre el viaje extraordinario que había comenzado con su redescubrimiento accidental de ruinas arquitectónicas prehistóricas, Ignacio expresó gratitud profunda por la oportunidad de haber contribuido al resurgimiento de sabiduría arquitectónica tradicional que había demostrado relevancia crítica para los desafíos climáticos contemporáneos. Cuando comencé a construir esta cabaña circular, declaró durante la ceremonia de inauguración, simplemente quería crear un refugio que pudiera protegerme durante las condiciones de invierno más severas que mis instintos me decían que se aproximaban. Nunca imaginé que redescubrir principios arquitectónicos que habían sido olvidados durante generaciones resultaría en la salvación de tantas vidas y en la inspiración para un renacimiento de técnicas de construcción que nuestros antepasados desarrollaron durante milenios de supervivencia en entornos hostiles. Su legado había demostrado que la innovación más efectiva frecuentemente emergía del redescubrimiento y la aplicación cuidadosa de sabiduría tradicional que había sido validada a través de siglos de uso exitoso en las condiciones más desafiantes que la naturaleza podía presentar. conocimiento que permanecía tan relevante en el siglo XXI como había sido durante los primeros días de la civilización humana en las montañas más inhóspitas del mundo.